And I'm Beth Jones. Reaction is pouring in after a 12-person jury found former President Donald Trump guilty on all 34 charges in his Manhattan criminal hush money trial.
Fox's Connor Hansen starts us off tonight.
With today's verdict, former President Donald Trump was not only convicted on 34 felony counts, he also made history, becoming the first former U.S. president to be convicted of a crime.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial.
Minutes after 12 jurors found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts, the former president delivering a message to the American people.
It's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution.
Trump, who was indicted in connection with a hush money payment to an adult film star ahead of the 2016 presidential election, now faces a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison.
There were people who clearly were thrilled by the result, and there were people that will be very sad by it. I was saddened to watch it. I disagree with this verdict.
Jurors reaching their conclusion after asking the judge overseeing the trial to review testimony from David Pecker and Michael Cohen, as well as directions guiding deliberations.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law and doing so without fear or favor.
Despite the verdict, neither the conviction nor any sentence prevents Trump from running for president.
The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people, and they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
Trump's sentencing has been set for July 11th. That's just 4 days before the start of the Republican National Convention. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
The Somerset County Grand Jury has indicted a Unity man accused of sexually assaulting a child. 30-year-old Jesse Harvey was indicted for gross sexual assault. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says it learned Harvey allegedly sexually assaulted a child under the age of 16 repeatedly over the past 4 years. A Benton man charged with murder and the death of a man from Fairfield was indicted for trying to escape from police. 22-year-old Raheem Goodwin was indicted for eluding an officer, refusing to submit to arrest, and violation of conditions of release. Police tried to stop the vehicle he was driving while they were investigating the death of 62-year-old Edwin Weeks. He led them on a high-speed chase before being arrested and was later charged with murder.
There are new developments regarding the future of an aqua farm facility in the city of Belfast, which has sparked protests and division within that community for years now. Fish farm developers Nordic Aqua Farms are now suing the city of Belfast over the city council's recent decision to reverse the use of eminent domain, which would have helped the company develop a land-based salmon farm along the Penobscot Bay. The city previously granted a condemnation order in 2021. Earlier this month, the council reversed that decision after the project faced legal challenges from Belfast area residents. According to an attorney representing Nordic, the lawsuit filed on May 16th argues that Belfast should have worked to confirm the city's border before enacting the use of eminent domain.
It's an appeal of that decision asking the court to decide, to oversimplify a little bit, should the city council have taken a couple of more steps before it decided what to do with the condemnation order that had been remanded on a whole different A to B appeal the year before.
We reached out to an attorney for the city of Belfast who says the city has yet to be served with the lawsuit and they would not be providing any additional comments at this time. Nordic Aqua Farms officials say they are dedicated to completing the development of a permitted on-land aquaculture facility in Belfast.
The Maine Public Utilities Commission has rejected a proposed settlement that would have provided partial refunds to thousands of Electricity Maine customers. The company is a competitive energy provider which provides customers an alternative to the state's standard offer supplier. 2 years ago, they allegedly switched customers from a fixed rate to a variable rate without their knowledge. This resulted in increased prices, with some customers' bills going up hundreds of dollars more per month. Previously, Electricity Maine reached an agreement with the Maine PUC that would have provided partial refunds. It also would have allowed customers the opportunity to change their service. Commission members rejected that settlement on Wednesday.
This enforcement matter is the second brought against Electricity Maine in recent years. both involving allegations of violations of our rules. To use a baseball metaphor, Electricity Maine now has 2 strikes. We take violations of our rules very seriously, and while I'm not prejudging any future case, Electricity Maine and its leadership should understand that in the event we find in the future that it fails to comply fully with Maine law and our rules, we will impose far more impactful consequences, including significant administrative penalties and very likely the revocation of Electricity Maine's CEP license.
Commission members say they're working to expedite the rest of the process, likely including a hearing before the commissioners.
In other news, Thorndike residents woke to offensive language and symbols spray painted on the town's post office Wednesday morning. Our David Ledford spoke with town officials to learn more.
Everybody was kind of surprised.
Postal workers and Thorndike residents found the local post office covered in yellow spray paint Wednesday.
People were upset because they think it couldn't happen in our little town. It's everywhere now.
Town officials say the building was vandalized with foul language on the walls and windows and a swastika painted on the door.
Much of the graffiti has since been covered up, but Town Clerk Rose Hill says that the words and symbols that were painted on the side of the building came as a shock.
Some people are mad, but it makes some people fearful. It's kind of shocking. SWAT stickers, profanity, obscenities, swear words. Blank, the U.S. mail is actually on the mailbox. We're a small town. We don't need that in our town.
Hill says spray cans were found in the mailbox outside the building, and the Maine State Police are looking into the incident. We reached out to state police but did not hear back. Meanwhile, local residents are hoping for answers.
To see the Nazi stuff, I mean, it was just, it was meant for shock value. No matter who gets caught for it and what happens, there has to be some sort of discipline to that because it is a hate crime.
According to the U.S. Department of Justice website, it is a federal crime to destroy or damage property owned by or under the federal government's control.
I hope whoever did do it, be nice if they just came forward.
Post office employees declined to comment on the vandalism. In Thorndike, David Ledford, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
After one of their own residents was scammed out of $24,000, the Belfast Police Department began a lengthy investigation into a fraud case which is commonly described as grandparent scam. Our Grace Blanchard spoke with a detective as they are asking the community for help to keep others from becoming victims.
They prey on their fears. They prey on their, unfortunately, they prey on their age.
This past April, the Belfast Police Department began an investigation into what they are calling a grandparent scam. According to police, a Belfast resident had thousands of dollars stolen from them after receiving a phone call from a scammer claiming that their son had been in a crash, struck a pregnant woman, and was arrested.
He was told that if he could get $24,000 in cash, they could speed his son's release from jail.
The suspect, 22-year-old Omar Diallo of Bronx, New York, was later located and arrested in Southern California. Detective Fitzpatrick says he is allegedly connected to dozens of similar scams across Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Nevada.
We believe that it's crossed the border into Canada as well because this gentleman, we know, did go to an address in Canada. So it's not just staying in the United States.
Police say the scam is targeting the elderly population, with victims losing on average $20,000 to $30,000. The detectives at Belfast PD are working with Homeland Security and the FBI to help protect others across New England.
They're being victimized because of their love for their family. They're being victimized, and we're doing the best we can to stop that.
The investigation is ongoing. Anyone with information is being encouraged to contact the Belfast Police Department detectives. In Belfast, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And it's always sad to hear about these cases, especially older people being preyed upon by these scammers. So, you know, this is one of the rare cases where police actually have been able to track down a suspect.
Yeah, so that's always heartening, but it's heartbreaking and infuriating in equal measure to watch, vulnerable people like our seniors just be taken advantage of like that, with horrible impact, to themselves, maybe to their ability to pay their bills, stay in their home. I mean, do you get your money back? Maybe, maybe not, probably not. Yeah, it just makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and hit pause here in our news and peek outside for a first check at the forecast.
All right, thank you. Your first weather is brought to you by Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, providing relief to people who are experiencing issues with pain, dizziness, and balance. Physical is spelled differently because they are different. Let's talk weather, and temperatures today are very nice, right? Highs up near 70, a bit cool. The average high is 72, 73. All of us are below that today, but who cares? Even warmer temperatures are on the way with some sunshine tomorrow, and then highs probably near 80 by the end of the weekend. Lots of clouds earlier, now kind of dissipating out there as we speak. This is all going to go that way, and then high pressure is going to build in. High pressure is your friend, it's sinking air. That's our weekend right there, with lots of sunshine and temperatures slowly climbing into the 70s to low 80s. Our forecast then tonight, though, is decreasing clouds, low temperatures down in the 40s. Your full forecast is coming up.
Alrighty, Jeff, and still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, Governor Mills proclaiming June as Maine Dairy Month.
Our Corey Bouchard visited the Blaine House to see the celebration himself. We'll have that story and more coming up.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
Lybalvi helps us push back against bipolar 1.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increased risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? For info, text copay to 45286.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
The baddest superstars on the planet are unleashed in prime time.
Listen to this place!
All new Friday Night SmackDown at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, June is Maine Dairy Month. We'll check out the scene from the Blaine House as the governor announces this designation. Plus, grandparents are being targeted in Belfast by a new scam. We'll hear how to stay safe. Plus, we'll hear about a gun and ammo take back this weekend. These stories and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Welcome back. Senator Susan Collins will be working in concert with military officials and the Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin on legislation in response to the Lewiston mass shooting and some of the circumstances that have come to light regarding the gunman, Robert Card. During a conversation this week, I asked the senator how that legislation might work.
What I want to do is, if any of our military services determines that a service member poses a threat to him or herself or to others, that we would have a referral under a state's crisis intervention law, like Maine's yellow flag law. And that could result in their being temporarily separated from their weapons while they're getting mental health treatment. And I think this is very important. There were so many missed opportunities in this horrific mass shooting to have stopped Robert Card.
Yeah. You know, and I think the stigma around mental health and mental health treatment is a big part of the problem, both in mainstream society and certainly in the military. So then how do we work to address that and remove that barrier?
That's a great question. And as a society, we've got to start treating mental illness the same way we would treat a physical illness. We have put far more money into mental health services for our veterans and for our active duty service members in recent years, and I've supported those efforts wholeheartedly.
We've seen really an explosion of these large-scale illegal marijuana growing operations. We've reported on them, I feel like, constantly for the last few months at least. They're run by largely foreign actors, and I know that you've questioned FBI Director Christopher Wray and Attorney General Merrick Garland on this very topic. So what is being done at the federal level, or what could or should be done to address this threat to our state and these bad actors?
The federal government is now involved in assisting county, state, and local law enforcement in closing down these illegal marijuana growing operations that have taken over homes in rural Maine. And by the way, they're ruining those homes. They will never be suitable for people to live in again, which worsens our housing crisis. But even more important, the marijuana that's being grown poses both a public health threat and a national security concern. So I believe that the federal government has been a bit slow in getting involved, but they are fully involved now. It's not only the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Maine, but the Drug Enforcement Administration, the FBI, the IRS. There is a concerted effort to support the really extraordinary work that's being done by our sheriffs in particular. And in Somerset County, the sheriff's office has closed down many of these illegal growing operations, but many other sheriffs and local and state law enforcement have been involved as well. One of my grave concerns, and this is I've brought up even to the Secretary of State, is it appears that a lot of these growing operations are linked to the Chinese cartels. And we don't know whether it's money laundering that's then used to bring fentanyl into the country. We don't know whether all of the marijuana that's produced meets the standards in Maine. We suspect that it does not. And it's being shipped out of state or sold on the black market. But this is really serious. There are an estimated between 100 and 200 of these operations in Maine. So it's going to take all hands on deck to close them down. And I'm pressing at the federal level on why are the Chinese doing this?
All right, so many questions still left unanswered there in that realm. But great for Senator Collins to be able to come into our studio and sit down with you.
Yeah, it was great. It was great to chat with her. We talked about a number of different topics. We'll hear a little bit more from her tomorrow, but we will have the entire interview up on our website tomorrow. And believe it or not, even with everything that we've put out to viewers in our newscast, there is still more in the interview that folks won't see unless they view it on the web. So we'll have that available tomorrow.
All right, you can check that out on foxbangor.com. And coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Israeli forces have now taken control over the border between Egypt and Gaza.
And it's been reported that President Biden is considering allowing Ukraine to use American-made missiles to hit targets within Russia's borders. Those stories and more when we come back.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing.
I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
There are plenty of good reasons to have a dock at your camp or lakefront home, and to choose a ShoreMaster premium dock system or floating poly dock system from Hammond Lumber Company. Lightweight and durable, ShoreMaster high-grade aluminum docks are easy to install and maintain, and poly docks are perfect for dealing with deep or fluctuating water levels. Both offer a wide range of available configurations. There's a ShoreMaster or a poly dock system that's right for you, and you'll find it at Hammond Lumber Company.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Hello, fellow flyers. I'm the Savvy Traveler, here to share the secrets of convenience at Bangor International Airport. Parking, you're steps away from the terminal. Inside, even more conveniences. And friendly, efficient security. All of these make BGR the official airport of you. Remember, the Savvy Travel through Bangor International Airport. FlyBangor.com.
If you've been injured, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
President Biden is reportedly considering allowing Ukraine to hit targets inside Russia using American-made missiles, despite new warnings from Moscow. Fox's Alex Hogan has more.
As the fighting escalates along Ukraine's eastern front, the U.S. is reportedly potentially inching closer to allowing the Ukrainians to take the fight to Russia on their home turf. Secretary of State Antony Blinken signaled the Biden administration could potentially give the green light for some changes. Blinken said that he wouldn't provide concrete details, but says it's up to the Ukrainians to make the decisions on how best to defend their country.
And at every step along the way, we've adapted and adjusted as necessary. And so that's exactly what we'll do going forward. We're always listening.
Blinken is in Prague for a two-day defense summit with his NATO counterparts, many of whom have already endorsed the idea of using long-range missiles to hit Russia. And on Thursday, Ukrainian forces say that they fired Storm Shadow missiles into Russia with Britain's permission.
Ukraine continues to fight bravely, but the challenges they face are greater and growing.
But the move comes with risks. Moscow says it will consider attacks on its territory using Western weapons, an escalation that will require a military response, with Russian President Vladimir Putin urging his people to prepare for a new phase in the war.
Everyone should understand what a time we live in and what a historical stage Russia is going through. Everyone should work as if on the front line. Everyone should feel mobilized.
The debate comes as Russia is stepping up its attacks, launching multiple offensives in the east and in the north within just the past 24 hours. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Israeli forces have taken over the border between Egypt and Gaza, and Egypt is not happy about it. Fox's Trey Yingst has more.
With the Rafah offensive now underway, Israeli forces are focusing on cutting off supplies and evacuation routes for Hamas fighters in southern Gaza. The IDF says it's now established, quote, operational control over the entire border region between Gaza and Egypt, an 8-mile-long buffer zone known as the Philadelphia Corridor. Egypt immediately protesting, pointing out any increase in Israeli troop presence there would violate the 1979 peace treaty.
I call upon the international community to work for immediate access to humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip to put an end to the Israeli siege.
But the IDF says it was a strategic move aimed at Hamas, not Egypt. And so far, they've located dozens of rocket launchers prepared to fire at Israel, as well as 20 underground tunnels leading to the Egyptian side of the border.
Hamas exploited the corridor and built this infrastructure at a distance of mere dozens of meters from the border with Egypt so that we won't attack them.
And as Israeli forces move deeper into Rafah, the White House says there's a new ceasefire proposal on the table that the Israelis support. It's still not clear if Hamas will get on board, but the UN says it's using, quote, quiet diplomacy to move the peace process forward.
When it comes to the regional dynamic, I would say that luckily there is a quiet regional diplomacy. There are many people in that sort of diplomacy. Key countries are involved.
On Wednesday, a top Israeli official said the war is expected to last for at least through the end of the year. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Meanwhile, it's another day of decisions by the Supreme Court, but one justice is in the spotlight and facing calls to recuse himself from some specific cases the court is ruling on this term. Fox's Caroline Shively has more from Washington.
As the Supreme Court released a number of decisions on Thursday with more on the way, Justice Samuel Alito faces calls to recuse himself from pending decisions involving former President Donald Trump and January 6th rioters. That's because of this, an upside-down American flag flown over his home in 2021 right after the attack on the Capitol, as first reported by the New York Times. The flipped flag has become a symbol of those who back Trump's false claims the 2020 election was stolen.
He can't play fast and loose with these political symbols without jeopardizing his own integrity.
Alito responded in a letter to Congress on Wednesday, saying his wife hung the flag outside their Northern Virginia home after a personal attack on her from a neighbor, writing, "I was not even aware of the upside-down flag until it was called to my attention. As soon as I saw it, I asked my wife to take it down, but for several days she refused." Alito also addressed this appeal to heaven flag that flew over the couple's vacation home. The flag dates back to the Revolutionary War, but has recently become popular among Christian nationalists. The justice says his wife bought and paid for the house and has a right to fly what she wants there.
The idea that a Supreme Court justice would have to respond to any kind of suggestion from Democrat senators that he should recuse himself because of such demonstrations that are completely covered by the First Amendment is absolutely absurd.
The Supreme Court will likely release its decisions on Trump's presidential immunity and the Capitol rioters in the next few weeks. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
A new report from the Washington Post says in 2022, TikTok offered the U.S. government a deal that would give it unprecedented control of the app. The Biden administration ended up rejecting that deal and instead urging TikTok to divest from its China-based parent company. Fox's Hillary Vaughn has more.
The Biden administration rejected a deal that would have given them partial control over TikTok, a compromise that TikTok thought might help them avoid an all-out ban. But it didn't ultimately solve the problem, which is TikTok is owned by a Beijing-based business, which means the Chinese Communist Party has influence over it. The Washington Post reports the deal on the table would give the U.S. government veto power over each new hire at TikTok, let a defense contractor monitor TikTok's source code, and give the feds a kill switch to shut down the app if anything were to go haywire. But a senior Biden administration official telling the Post the only acceptable option is completely cutting off TikTok from China for national security concerns, saying they, quote, determined more than a year ago that the solution proposed by the parties at the time would be insufficient to address the serious national security risks presented. It became clear that divestment from its foreign ownership was and remains necessary. Republicans say this half-measure fix floated by TikTok would have made the U.S. operate just like the CCP.
Why would we choose to do what TikTok has already done? And that is to give the government access.
Time is ticking for TikTok to put themselves up for sale and find a buyer if they want to continue to be on smartphones in America. But instead of doing that, they are busy suing over the divestment order signed into law by President Biden. A U.S. appeals court in D.C. will be hearing the case and has fast-tracked the process to get a ruling by December 6th, leaving time for the Supreme Court to weigh in if needed. Now, TikTok has until January 19th to divest to an American company or face a ban. In Washington, Hillary Vaughn, Fox News.
Well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the World Health Organization has labeled tomorrow World No Tobacco Day. The annual observance informs the public on the dangers of using tobacco.
And in sports, UMaine's Mackenzie Wilson is gearing up for a trip to the NCAA Track and Field National Championship. Stay with us.
Houston. Memphis.
An amazing play.
The United Football League, this week on Fox.
I want to be an electrician. I chose WCC because I was so motivated to come here and pursue my career.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. So you can feel good about Hood.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, chances are you have a lot of questions. Norm Prouty has answers. Learn some tips and tricks and explore some beautiful new homes on the market. The Norm Prouty and Donnell Baker Real Estate Show, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on Fox 22.
The Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub is world-renowned for beautiful dining with a delicious view, offering a safe, comfortable atmosphere, providing an intimate space for reconnecting with loved ones, family, and friends. It's a true destination dining experience, featuring award-winning dishes from executive chef Arturo Montes, and Ryan's Pub, serving traditional pub food with a modern twist. Whether it's a special occasion or any occasion, the Lucerne Inn is the perfect choice for your business or family gathering.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
I really enjoyed electrical. It's a clean trade with a lot of work available. Just the hands-on stuff. It's really engaging.
Friday marks World No Tobacco Day, the annual World Health Organization campaign designed to sound the alarm over the potentially deadly effects of using tobacco. This year, officials are raising new red flags over the tobacco industry's efforts to try and hook new customers. Fox's Ted Lindner takes a closer look.
Tobacco use is triggering new calls for action as the World Health Organization accuses the tobacco industry of targeting young people in a new report called Hooking the Next Generation.
They're paying ads and product placements with streaming services. And they have partnerships with food delivery services so that you can get your e-cigarettes through the app right at your door.
Worldwide, the research reveals roughly 37 million teens between the ages of 13 and 15 use tobacco products. When it comes to e-cigarettes, the report says many countries are seeing higher use among kids than adults, something experts attribute to the availability of tempting flavors.
Bubblegum, vanilla ice cream, cookies, all aimed for children.
In the U.S., the WHO report found more than 70% of adolescent e-cigarette users would not be using them if they only came in tobacco flavor. While the Food and Drug Administration has taken action against vaping and flavored e-cigarettes, many illegal products can be found online and in stores.
We are calling on governments to ban all these flavors.
The WHO cites prior studies that show e-cigarette use in young people can increase their chances of smoking traditional cigarettes by 3 times. The CDC says tobacco use is the leading preventable cause of cancer and cancer deaths. But tobacco can also increase your risk for heart and lung disease, diabetes, stroke, and more. Ted Lindner, Fox News.
The American Red Cross says it's in critical need of blood and platelet donors following a downward trend in donations over the past month. Nationwide, there were 20,000 fewer blood donations in May than needed to maintain the National Red Cross's blood supply. Red Cross representatives attribute that drop to high travel numbers and severe weather across the country. They also say it's essential that donors come forward as we approach the summer.
Summer is always a tough time to collect, so this drop is concerning because it's earlier than we typically see, with summer on the horizon and a typical rise in automobile accidents that occur during the summer months. We want to be sure there's enough blood on hospital shelves to save lives.
Red Cross representatives say it only takes about 10 minutes to donate. To schedule an appointment, visit redcross.org.
Well, balloons will line the skyline above Lewiston this year after all. The city says it's launching an event of its own after the Great Falls Balloon Festival couldn't make it happen this year. Festival organizers said in a statement that they gave the city their blessing to put on a show of their own, but the city can't use the Great Falls Balloon Festival name or logos. Lewiston city leaders say their event will be called the LA Balloon Festival, the 16th, 17th, and 18th of August, and they're glad they can finally get the event off the ground after so much uncertainty.
I'd say it's been a lot of up and down, no pun intended, trying to figure out if this iconic, significant economic event was going to happen this year or not.
The city is hoping the revenue brought in will recoup the use of taxpayer money for the event and then some.
Wow, so it's going to be quite the sight to behold.
Yeah.
But glad to see that they're able to do something in recognition.
Well, and if you've attended that event, you have seen the grandeur, all the wonderful colors, the balloons rising up, which is just an incredible sight to behold. So the fact that they're going to, put something on is just really, really great news because that is a celebrated event for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, stay tuned. Our full forecast is coming up next.
Look at us, high temperatures up near 70 again today. Tomorrow is going to be a bit warmer, but there are some showers and thunderstorms in the 5-day forecast. I'll tell you when I come back.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
We're lucky to live in Maine. We have a wealth of natural resources, hardworking people, and time for the things that matter. Mechanical Services is all about Maine, with energy efficiency that protects our environment and helps businesses grow. Preventive maintenance and energy solutions that save money. How Maine is that? Mechanical Services. We're everywhere you are in Maine.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Hey Red Sox fans, you've got to play You Pick'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer.
Let's party, dude.
Name that tune.
Premieres Monday, June 3rd on Fox.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Refine Contractors, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. Give them a call today. Rise with Refine, and let's talk about the weather. What a great day, right? Some clouds out there, yes. A couple sprinkles earlier, okay. Highs back near 70, a bit cool. The average high being 72, 73. Most of us were below that today, but tomorrow we'll get closer to the average high temperature. Right now, a wind out of the north around 5 miles per hour, so this will actually come down a bit tonight, and that is part of our problem this evening. More on that here in a second. And then come back tomorrow, we could see wind gusts tomorrow in the northwest around 10 to 15 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. The problem is the lack of wind tonight, the clear skies out there as well. It could give us a couple areas of frost this evening. We're talking well north and west of the Bangor area, probably north and west of the Millinocket area as well. But just know if you have plants outside in these areas in blue, they will likely not like the temperatures out there tonight. So give them a cover or bring them inside this evening until early tomorrow morning. All right, lots of cloud cover earlier is beginning to fade out finally. This is all going to go that way. So a couple sprinkles earlier today as well. We are done with that for now. Clearing skies overnight tonight. Tomorrow, don't forget your sunglasses tomorrow. It'll be a very sunny day as high pressure is building in. Again, high pressure is our friend. It's sinking air. Can't get bad weather out of that. And then off to the west of us, here comes our next system. But this guy is going to fall apart before it basically reaches our area late in the weekend. It still could give us a sprinkle or two, especially on Sunday. Looking ahead though, tonight no issues at all. Tomorrow no issues, lots of sunshine tomorrow. A few more clouds in the area Sunday into Monday. And again, there could be a couple of sprinkles in the area later on Monday, but overall kind of a dry stretch of weather headed our way. In fact, I'm going to run this through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're talking maybe 1/10 of an inch of rainfall, if that, with a couple of sprinkles across the area between now and then. Our forecast then tonight though is partly cloudy skies, and it's going to be a bit cool in spots, especially well north and west of the Bangor area, where there could be some frost or Millinocket this evening. Look for low temperatures averaging near 46 or so, with that north breeze around 5. For tomorrow, okay, so here we go. So mostly sunny and awesome tomorrow. There could be a couple clouds throughout the afternoon, but who cares? 73 for a high temperature and a north breeze around 5 to 10, especially throughout the afternoon. And then looking ahead, your 5-day forecast shows the story. So a gradual climb in temperatures between tomorrow and Tuesday. A couple of sprinkles can't be ruled out later Saturday into Sunday. But look at Saturday, mostly sunny, 75. Outdoor plans are a go. Sunday, mostly sunny, 78. Outdoor plans are a go. Lots of folks are getting married this weekend too, by the way. And then Monday, 82, mostly sunny. Look at 82, a bit cooler for Tuesday as clouds increase, and a couple of showers are back in the forecast probably late Tuesday into Wednesday of next week.
All right, real nice stretch coming our way.
Yeah, that weekend looking phenomenal.
Yeah, I love to see it.
All right, well, sports is coming right up next. Stay with us.
You've always known what you wanted, no matter how far down the road it looked. We're here to help you get there. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint Chip with a rich, fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real, delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery. From Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
I've been with U.S. Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
June 8th on Fox, the Belmont Stakes from historic Saratoga Racecourse. This is the test of the champion. The Belmont Stakes from Saratoga, June 8th on Fox.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Engstrom's Auto Service in Guilford. We specialize in all foreign and domestic service and alignments.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals is now less than a week away. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. The Celtics awaiting the winner of the Mavericks and Timberwolves. Looks like the Mavericks, but they will play Game 1 of the Finals in Boston next Thursday night. Regardless of who comes to town, though, the C's will be rested and ready, and they deserve it too. They'll have a total of 10 days off in between Game 1 and their Game 4 win on Monday after sweeping the Pacers. Boston now 12-2 this postseason. Pretty incredible. They are just 4 wins away from hanging banner 18. Earlier on Thursday, Joe Mazzulla talked about what has separated this playoff run from the last few.
You know, we played without an expectation, without a sense of entitlement. I think we just played with an understanding that even though we're a good team, we have to be the harder playing team. So I think that's important. Felt like we weren't distracted by anything other than the things that impact winning.
All right, looking forward to that matchup. Let's go to the tennis court now. George Stevens girls tennis is the #1 seed in the Class C North tournament, despite some mid-season adversity. Ryan Soudal has more.
It feels great to have this opportunity to be able to just have fun for longer.
It's certainly a lot more fun when you're at the top. For the first time since 2014, George Stevens girls tennis is the #1 seed in C North.
That's crazy. That's great. I didn't even know that.
Each one of these kids can do something that the others can't. We have a lot of depth and a lot of commitment, and I think they respect that in each other.
And that dynamic they have amongst each other is just as important as their play.
You know, we're all friends, we're all having fun together. I think if we just go out there and we have fun and we know that this is the sport that we love, then that's when we play our best.
Partway through the season, though, the fun came to a halt as their previous head coach stepped down.
We didn't have a coach and nobody knew really what was going to happen. We were all feeling just a little nervous about that. And then John stepped in.
John McMillan to the rescue. McMillan's daughter Ellie is a GSA tennis alum, so he knows the program well, but he didn't come in to change things in his vision.
I'm not really a coach. I feel myself more as an advisor, really. These guys know what they're doing. I just wander around and pick up balls.
Not if you ask his team, that is.
I think he's being too humble. He's a really great coach. And he did step in, and he was that coach that pushed us, that also helped us have fun. He's really had a big impact on our team.
The Class C Regional Championship will come through Blue Hill, but the Eagles will have to go through incredibly strong teams like Matt Knockhook and PCHS that they haven't faced yet this year.
They're excited about the challenge. They kind of want to know where they stand, and I'm really excited to see how these other teams play.
And who knows? Maybe they'll stand above all the rest.
I don't think anyone really has expectations except we're going to go out there and just do the best we can. But that would be really amazing to be remembered as that team.
In Blue Hill, I'm Ryan Soudal, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Heading to some track and field now. As announced last week, Maine senior hammer thrower Mackenzie Wilson will be competing in next week's NCAA championship meet. With a 61.89-meter throw at the preliminary meet last week, Wilson placed 9th, and that was enough to send her to Oregon for her first nationals berth of her career. She's also the first black bear in many years to make it there, realizing a dream since she set foot in Orono 5 years ago. She couldn't think of a better way to call it a career.
It feels like a storybook ending, honestly. Over these past 5 years, I've had, my self-doubts, my adversity and whatnot, just keeping the same goal as the motivator in practice. To have this come true is just completely unbelievable. And I'm so excited that I get to, go to the big show.
Not only is this a huge opportunity for her, but for the university. She says that when people think of UMaine sports, they definitely don't think of outdoor track, and she's hoping to change that Thursday and also show what Black Bear Track and Field is made of.
I'm super excited to see the University of Maine Black Bear jersey at the national championships. To have that away from the hockey team on ESPN and etc. is incredible. To be in a position like that and put a spotlight on the school is just amazing.
Finally, now let's go to the basketball court. After 5 incredible years with the University of Maine, women's basketball star Anne Simon is going pro. Simon has signed a professional contract in Italy, playing in the Serie A1 league. She will join the team Lupe Basket, as she announced in a tweet on Wednesday. Simon won the America East Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year award twice in her career at Maine. Twice she led Maine to an America East regular season championship, and this past year helped lead the Black Bears to an America East title and a trip to the NCAA tournament. Wishing her all the best in her career. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
When My Mechanic Company wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. My Mechanic Company, located in Carmel, is your go-to for auto repair. Whether you need brakes, tires, diagnostics, or a state inspection, My Mechanic has you covered. Come see why My Mechanic should be your mechanic.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like...
Exactly, and unsweetened, has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all. You guys are so right. No, you are. No, you are. No, you are. Yeah, you are.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are 0, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
Hi, Eastern Maine. Watch 25 Words or Less with me, Meredith Vieira, weekdays at 9 a.m. after Good Morning Maine on Fox 22.
Some major news coming from the White House Wednesday in regards to China. You might call it a breakthrough in panda diplomacy. Fox's Caroline Shively once again with that story.
Meet 2-year-old Bao Li. If his gymnastics and general adorableness don't make you smile, then just keep watching.
I'm so happy. Pandas are my favorite animal.
Right now, you'd have to go all the way to China to see Bao Li and 2-year-old female Qing Bao. But on Wednesday, the White House announced,
"It's official. The pandas are coming back to D.C."
Giant pandas have been a fixture in the nation's capital for more than 50 years, with the first of many coming to the U.S. after President Nixon's historic 1972 visit to China. Then last November, D.C. went panda-free when Tian and Mei Xiang and their cub left for China. One of the new pandas, Bao Li, is actually the grandson of Tian and Mei Xiang, and maybe something more.
It's part of the symbol of the friendship of U.S. and China, because currently the U.S.-China still has a tension, but the pandas returning back to the capital means that we still have friendship.
The pandas' return will be a welcome sight for the nearly 2 million people who visit the National Zoo each year. Millions more can watch them on the PandaCam. But the main reason for bringing them back is preservation.
The panda's arrival is not just an exciting event, but it is proof positive of the success of our giant panda program.
You have a very short window of breeding, and it's a game of trying to figure out when the right time is to put them together, and if they will successfully breed naturally, which we hope this pair will.
The date of the panda pair's arrival is still top secret for security reasons, but we're told to expect them before the end of the year. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Turns out picking up a book this summer could lead to free pizza for young readers. Pizza Hut is bringing back its Camp Book It program, where it rewards young readers with a free pizza. Parents will be able to set up reading goals every month in a digital dashboard. Once their kids meet their goals, they'll receive digital coupons that can get them a free one-topping personal pizza from Pizza Hut. Enrollment is now open and the program runs from June through August. The original program, Book It, is celebrating its 40th anniversary. The goal is to encourage reading across the country.
And I actually remember participating in that program when I was a kid. Well, June is National Dairy Month, a way to celebrate dairy in Maine and across the country. And at the Blaine House, a celebration was held to also acknowledge June as Maine Dairy Month. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has the story.
We kick off June, a month filled with celebrations. We hope you will celebrate National Dairy Month with us by including your favorite dairy products in your food moments.
Governor Janet Mills joined dairy farmers and Maine dairy advocates with a signed proclamation declaring June as Maine Dairy Month, a time to celebrate the dairy industry in the state.
Dairy farms, as we all know, are at the heart of Maine's agricultural industry, our rural communities, and our economy as a whole.
Betsy Bullard, a dairy farmer from Turner, says a lot of the dairy products you purchase in Maine are most likely from a Maine farm. One way you can tell is by looking for the processing code. If it starts with the numbers 2, 3, it's from Maine, which also means it's probably fresher than you think.
It's a fast one. So when we think about local, when my cows are having a snack this morning, my cows are milked 3 times a day, and every day that milk heads to a processing plant here in Maine. A lot of times it goes to Oakhurst, and it can be on your shelf at the grocery store or in your cup holder in your car within 24 hours.
According to Ron Dyer, the executive director for the Maine Cheese Guild, this year's Dairy Month comes on the heels of data suggesting that cheese has overtaken potato chips as the choice snack food item in America for the first time.
Gives people another choice, like instead of chunking down chips, you take curds of cheese, and know people that do that with Pineland Dairies, for instance, right here in Maine. You go into Hannaford and they got their curds right in easy to use containers as well as big packages.
The group ended the celebration by having a toast with milk and cookies. At the Blaine House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Definitely a fan of milk and cookies.
Oh yeah, milk with anything sweet, you can sign me up.
Yeah.
I love to hear too that cheese is becoming an increasingly popular snack, overtaking potentially potato chips. Definitely a healthier option.
Definitely a healthier option, equally delicious. And I might say also a valuable training tool when you're trying to get your dog to listen to you.
Oh yes.
Yes, the power of cheese.
Gotta pay the cheese tax.
Gotta pay the cheese tax. Alrighty folks, that's gonna do it for us. From everyone at Fox 22 News, take care and good night.
Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC7, right now for ABC7 News at 11.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescription.
And it never ends, and it never ends, and it never ends, and it never ends.
Sofia Vergara's on Jimmy Kimmel Live later tonight.
When we come back, an exciting update. It's time to watch the
NBA Finals on ABC.
You created this.
Our first guest tonight.
I got it.
So you want to be a substitute teacher, but you're Richard Jefferson NBA champ.
Yeah, but I've always wanted to work with.
Oh.
Sorry, habit.
Sorry, habit.
The NBA Finals start June 6th.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm